Sometimes I forget that Josh Bell can play some left field, and the Nationals put him out there yesterday and he delivered by robbing a home run. But the craziest part is, from that same game, this wasn't even the most impressive catch. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I hope that you guys enjoyed the 0.75 seconds of 21st of September, one of my favorite songs of all time, and we had to celebrate. But what's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We do this every single day, so don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as well as if you're going to any baseball games anytime soon, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself 20 bucks off. Apparently, to a lot of people, Shohei Ohtani is losing his grip on the MVP award, so we're going to talk about that. The Mariners and the A's are facing off in one of the biggest series of the year, and then Salvador Perez, he made Major League Baseball history yesterday. Now, before we get into the history that Salvador Perez made, let's talk about the lone walk-off victory from yesterday. The Marlins versus the Nationals. I love this Marlins team because their young core is so much fun to watch, including Jazz Chisholm. And I just have one question for you guys. You like Jazz? He now has 16 home runs and 22 stolen bases at 22 years old. Jesus Sanchez has been a monster the last 13 games. He now has 6 home runs and 14 RBIs. And then he comes in clutch with his bare hand. Moments later, yes, he does overrun the ball, but he kind of course corrects with his bare hand and is actually able to complete the play. So he kind of outshines Josh Bell over in left field. Jazz Chisholm turns in his 17th home run of the year. Both of his home runs combined traveled almost 842 feet. Miami, they were still losing though until the 7th inning when Miguel Rojas and Jazz Chisholm, they put it in play for 2 runs, and Brinson, he ties it up on an infield single. So this one needed extras, where Josh Bell was correctly called out, in my opinion. I mean, the dude was running in the grass. You can't do that, especially as a left-handed hitter. What are you thinking? Jazz ends up winning the game on a walk-off wild pitch, and like I mentioned, between Trevor Rogers, Sandy Alcantara, Sixto Sanchez, and all of the pieces, Brian De La Cruz, Jazz Chisholm, and Jesus Sanchez, I really like the Marlins going forward. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Kansas City versus Cleveland doubleheader yesterday, because history was made. Even though Tristan McKenzie was looking like the ace of Cleveland over the last month, Hunter Dozier has a 2-run bomb. He is hitting .291 with 4 home runs in the month of September. Benny Biceps, he wants one as well, his 16th. He's up to a 2.7 WAR. Dozier grabs another RBI right before Salvador Perez does it. He passes Johnny Bench with his 46th home run. That is the most ever by a catcher in a single season. And over his last 180-ish games, he has 57 home runs, 147 RBIs. I could not be happier for him. Brady Singer, he does allow 2 runs off the bat of J-Ram, but he had 7 strikeouts and pitched the entire game, all 7 innings. Of course, it was a doubleheader. But shout out to Johnny Bench. He used his Twitter to congratulate Salvador Perez. He retweeted the main tweet, and then he came out and quoted Yogi Berra and was just very supportive of Salvador Perez. So Johnny Bench, one of my favorite players of all time. I think that he's my dad's favorite player as well. And then in game number 2, it was much of the same. Carlos Santana, he has an RBI on a bases loaded walk, and Dozier, his sac fly starts off game number 2 rough. But Andres Gimenez, he has been better lately. He's hitting .273 with 2 home runs, which is a whole lot better than he was hitting .190 in the first half of the season. And remember Anthony Gose? Back in 2015 for the Tigers, he had 23 stolen bases and a 90 OPS plus, which isn't all that great, but he was pretty productive and he had a rocket arm. Well, now he is a relief pitcher tossing 101 miles per hour. He strikes out Salvador Perez, and that was pretty much it for his day. Hanser Alberto pokes one for an RBI single in the 6th. And Bobby Bradley, he bops one, but Kansas City is able to sweep the Cleveland in this doubleheader. Baseball is so weird. Cleveland scored 22 runs combined in 2 games against the Yankees, and then they score 4 in a doubleheader against the Royals. How does that make sense? Now, before we talk about the Yankees, let's break down this Rays versus Jays game, because a few years ago, Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, and a player to be named later was traded from the Pirates to the Rays in exchange for Chris Archer. Well, that player to be named later ended up becoming the Rays' #1 prospect after Wander Franco, and that is Shane Baz. He had 5 strikeouts and only allowed 2 base hits in 5 innings. Now, he did allow 2 earned runs on 2 home runs, but Yandy Diaz, he had his back. A 3-run home run off of the Cy Young favorite Robbie Ray. Joey Wendell, he ends up scoring on an error in the 6th inning. Manuel Margot has an RBI in the 7th, and Joey Wendell blasts off for his 11th as Marcus Semien, yes, he delivered with a 2-run home run. So he now has 41 and is 2 away from the record of 43. So could you imagine if Salvi and Marcus Semien both break the records for most home runs at their position in one single season. The Jays end up winning 6-4, which was massive for the Yankees because they need the Jays to lose as much as possible, and it happened yesterday, and the Yankees, they took advantage and got a W against Joey Gallo's former team. Gary Sanchez, he hits a home run to left field in the second, and Aaron Judge, his RBI single, starts a 3-run third inning. Gleyber Torres has been a whole lot better with the stick as of late. He makes it 4-0, and Texas actually shut out the Yankees offense over the next 6 innings. The Rangers fight back to make it a 1-run game, but Aroldis Chapman has been unhittable over his last 3 appearances. He now has 28 saves. The Yankees are supposed to win these games, so round of applause, I guess. I mean, you're supposed to win. I'm not going to give you much credit for that. But you had to win it, and you did. Moving on over to another must-win game, the Mariners versus the A's, one of the most crucial and vital series of 2021. Ty France, he drives an RBI in the third inning. He now has a 3.9 WAR and an almost 130 OPS plus. I audibly gasped because that is insane. Kyle Seager brings home 2 more in a vital 3-run third inning, and Tyler Anderson with his biggest start of his career, in my opinion, because he hasn't really had any big moments because he's played for a lot of bad teams. He gets a 4th run from Seager in the 5th inning and then finishes his start going 7 innings, only allowing 1 earned run, didn't walk anyone, and had 7 strikeouts. Paul Sewald is able to put out the fire that Diego Castillo started. He had 3 strikeouts over the last inning and 2/3, and the Mariners are on a 2-game winning streak, so the wild card in the American League is sitting at the Boston Red Sox at plus 1.5 games ahead of anyone for first place. The Jays are in second, and the Yankees are a half game back. The A's are 2 games back, and the Mariners are 3 games back. All right, moving on over to the NL wildcard race. Let's go ahead and talk about the red-hot Cardinals because they won their 9th consecutive game. Nolan Arenado has been heating up, 33 home runs and 101 RBIs. He is 3rd all-time with 6 seasons of 30 home runs and 100-plus RBIs as a third baseman, just behind Mike Schmidt and A-Rod. Avi Garcia, he returns and ropes a home run, along with Luis Urias, who is proving all of the doubters wrong. He has 21 home runs and a 109 OPS plus, and also in that trade in which Trent Grisham was sent to the Padres, and in return the Brewers got Eric Lauer and Luis Urias. Honestly, I think Trent Grisham has a higher ceiling than both of those guys, but Eric Lauer has had a 2.13 ERA in the second half, and Luis Urias has been sensational. Either way, Yadier Molina is able to knock in another run to give the lead to John Lester. John goes 6 innings, only allows 3 base hits, and then Goldie and Molina make it 5-2. Like I mentioned, the Cardinals have now won 9 games in a row, and that was win number 200 in John Lester's career. He's borderline Hall of Fame in my opinion. He might be a 3rd or 4th ballot if he keeps this up. The Orioles versus the Phillies. This game can be summed up by this gif right here, a shake my head gif. Like, what? You can't lose this game, Phillies. Baltimore, they scored 2 in the 1st inning on 2 singles, and that was it for scoring for the rest of the game. Ranger Suarez gets 0 run support, and John Means was on top of his game. Almost 7 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. Now, he has not been the same pitcher ever since they banned sticky stuff, but he can be pretty good every so often. Kelvin Gutierrez, he shows off the leather in the 8th inning, and Bryce Harper misses a home run by 1 foot as Tyler Wells goes 1-2-3 in the 9th inning, and to me, that was one of the more embarrassing losses of the year for the Phillies. They lost the game, but not only did they lose it, they got shut out. I guess John Means is pretty good, so maybe it wasn't that bad. The Braves faced off against the Diamondbacks yesterday, and superstar Austin Riley delivers, and he takes a quick 2-0 lead. Of course, Arizona, what do? They fight back. They actually wipe out all of the runs that Austin Riley scored by scoring 3 in the 3rd inning. But I think the Braves understood that they have to score at least 5 to 7 runs if they're going to beat the Diamondbacks, and they do that. They do it actually pretty easily. Freddie Freeman and Ozzie Albies, they combine to reclaim the lead on a double and a single, and then Austin Riley, for his 2nd double of the game, he drives in another run, and Adam Duvall with a big blast. If you guys don't remember, it's from a game called the Bigs 2. I mean, he powered up for this one. 483 feet. He now has 37 home runs, 107 RBIs. Now, Atlanta does score a few more right before McCarthy hits his 1st ever home run, but Eddie Rosario, he comes back with his 6th home run in his first 54 at-bats with the Braves. He has been insane. And then Contreras, he scores on a wild pitch as the Braves win 11-4. And then last but not least, for the NL wildcard teams, the Reds, they faced off against the Pirates. Babe Ruth, Yoshi Tsutsugo, he lifts off, and then Brian Reynolds, he continues another breakout season, 24 home runs and a 142 OPS plus. Yoshi and Reynolds bring home a few more in the 3rd, and it was 5-0 Pittsburgh until Nick Castellanos has a 2-run double in the bottom of the 3rd. Joey Votto then smokes a 2-run bomb and another home run to tie it up later on. He has 92 RBIs and 33 home runs at the ripe age of 38 years old. Suarez, he hits his 27th home run, but still has a minuscule 66 OPS plus. Kyle Farmer starts a rally on a home run, and the game ends up being 9-5. So the wild card, the Cardinals, after winning 9 games in a row, they're +3 for second place because the Dodgers are not going to lose that, or the Giants. The Reds are 3 games back, the Padres are 4 games back, and the Phillies, after getting shut out by Baltimore, are 4.5 games back. All right, the final 2 games from yesterday, the Astros versus the Angels and the Tigers versus the White Sox. I think the Angels management should be ashamed of themselves. Their bullpen is one of the worst I've ever seen, but more on that later. Jose Siri blast off, and Carlos Correa singles home Yordan Alvarez, and that was pretty much it for the first 7 innings, as Framber Valdez was able to shut out the Angels offense, and he gets out of a bases-loaded jam thanks to the help of Carlos Correa with a web gem in the 7th inning. Marwin Gonzalez drives in an RBI in the 8th, right before Martin Maldonado socks a 3-run home run, and then Marwin, he crushes a grand slam to have 5 RBIs total on the day. Everyone has been saying that the door has opened for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and you're not necessarily wrong, because Shohei Ohtani has a 196 batting average and a 611 OPS in the month of September, but Shohei Ohtani is 9-2 with the sub 3.3 ERA and almost 150 strikeouts. Like, what are we doing? And also, I just want to reiterate, I have exactly 0 Shohei Ohtani baseball cards. If Vladimir Guerrero Jr. wins, I'm going to be happy because I have more Vlad Jr. cards than anyone else. So if he wins, fine, but I still got Shohei. And then the final game from yesterday, the Tigers faced off against the White Sox, and the White Sox have owned Detroit all season long, but yesterday the Tigers got the best of them, even after the Chicago White Sox were able to get to young pitcher Matt Manning for 3 runs in the 3rd inning, but then Detroit, they answered back with 3 runs of their own. Victor Reyes has an RBI single. Scope has an RBI ground out because Cesar, I don't know what he was doing, he tagged someone without actually having the ball in his glove. Miggy has a sac fly. Moncada makes a crazy play in the 6th inning, but unfortunately for Chicago fans, the momentum still stayed with Detroit as Kimbrel blows the tie in the 8th inning, and Alex Lang, he secures his first save as a big leaguer. So the White Sox are now 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they're 4 games below 500 against teams who are above 500. That's not a good sign come playoff time. All right, everyone, well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Save yourself 20 bucks off on SeatGeek if you're going to any baseball games. Use code Fuzzy and enjoy this day in MLB history.
Drives it to deep right. Back goes Kadire. It's up, it's gone. A new Red Sox single-season record for home runs. 51 as David Ortiz now stands alone.